Hello, and I am live, and thank you for coming to my channel. I see there are a few that are waiting to watch, and welcome. My name is Cindy, and thank you for coming. Today we're going to be talking about Outschool summer camps, and I have two guests with me, Jerry and Rebecca. Rebecca and I also did a live like halfway in between our camps last week, and Jerry is a friend of ours also from online teacher friends. And so I just want to mention, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, go ahead and subscribe for more videos like this. I teach for VIP Kid and Go-Go Kid as well as Outschool. And if you're interested in checking out some classes for Outschool, if you've never done Outschool before, I'm going to put a link below because you can get your first class for up to $20 off. So basically free for your first class. And also, if you would like to teach for Outschool, I will put the links for myself and Jerry as well as Rebecca, and all of us can help you with the hiring process. But I just want to say before I bring my guests on, if you would like to teach for Outschool and you would like a referring teacher, be careful what link you click on because if you don't click on the right link the first time, that's it. All right. So it's kind of a little bit of a complicated situation, but if you've taught for other online companies, you know what I'm talking about. So here we go. We're going to talk about our camps. I'm so excited. Hello, Jerry. Hello.
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 I don't know. I like it like this. It's a little weird. Maybe more like
This is nice.
yeah.
That's so squished.
Yeah. I don't want you guys to be squished. I want you to be totally comfortable.
Really narrow.
Itty bitty living space, guys. Even this smaller.
Well, my face was like really big. Like that's really weird. I feel like on TV, the reporters, they do that kind of thing. Okay, so welcome. So did you now Rebecca and I taught this past week. We did 2 camps, 3 hours per camp. So for me it was 12 noon to 3 p.m. and then we had a 1 hour break, and then it was 4 to 7 for me. I know for Rebecca it was what, you're like 2 times?
Yeah, 2 hours before. So it was 10 to 1 and then 2 to 5.
Yeah, for 4 days.
Yep, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I don't know what you did yesterday, but I sure took a break.
Yesterday, I did my regular ongoing classes. I'm like, what are my regular ongoing classes? What do I teach normally? What's my schedule? I was so confused. I had to keep looking at my schedule going, oh yeah, I do teach this one today. Oh yeah, I do have a regular lesson.
Yeah, I enjoyed it so much this week. I'm really thankful that I got into the camp thing. This is probably going to be my one and only big week. And for the camp, I just want to say that during the week, number one, I was really happy to do it with Rebecca. I was really happy to be teamed up with her. We just had a great time, enjoyed every minute of it. And secondly, I was like, I had to stop and think about all the things I've learned this year in order to get to this point. Because a year ago, if I was going to be teaching online a 3-hour camp, I wouldn't have been as prepared, you know, I wouldn't have known, like everything just kind of fell into place. It was just like, wow, I feel like I've been to like computer camp or something or computer college because I just learned so much. And I know Rebecca and I and Jerry too, we all know each other from behind the scenes. Like we watch each other's videos. We have a chat behind the scenes. So any of you watching that, you know, try to figure out what's going on, we don't only meet online and we don't only chat in the chat box. And we learn from each other. Like Rebecca makes videos on ManyCam and I watch hers and she watches mine. And then we'll say, hey, how did you do that? And then we'll help each other. And it's just been a great growing experience. So I just want to say that right at the beginning. And I have also interviewed Rebecca and Jerry separately a while back. So you can watch that video about who they are and what their classes are like and stuff like that. So I do have a few questions, and if you guys have anything else to add, feel free. But first of all, for people might be watching for the first time, how is an online camp set up?
Well,
go ahead.
I mean, they set it up by, so Outschool is doing all the marketing for this, as they do for all of the classes, but they're doing their own extra pushes in lots of different ways. And they're doing pop-ups in Outschool. So if you're already an Outschool student, that you are able to see these coming up over and over again, so that it's in front of you. There's banners, Facebook ads, and Instagram, the ways that they already do their marketing. So they've been doing a lot of push for that. And then the way they're organized is that they'll let up to 36 learners into a camp. None of the camps have had quite that many. I'm not sure where they got that number, but it would definitely be a challenge to do 36. So I've done 2 weeks of this camp. I'm only doing 1 3-hour session 4 days a week, and I'm teamed up also with one other teacher I really got lucky, because obviously there's hundreds and hundreds of these teachers, and you don't know, and I'm paired up with someone I didn't know at all before, and she and I have gotten along great, and we really feed off of each other. I know I was worried because I was also invited by our mutual friend, because they were looking for more teachers. So Mindy was reaching out to some of us a little after you all started. Right. And I scrambled around and got all this stuff together. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I got thrown in, and I was at first I was like, oh, I'm not going to be in the same group as you guys, because I couldn't pick the same time. So I was like, it's okay. I'm learning new things. Just like you said, learning new things. It's okay. It's not forever. And now it's turned out to actually be like a blessing, because she's now like a new friend of mine.
Yes.
And yeah, she's really awesome. She is different than me. So, in my personal family life, I'm sure that my boys would not say this about me, but everyone seems to say, oh, you're very calm, and you have this, and like your intro video is so relaxing and all this stuff. And so I always laugh about that. And so Shannon says the same thing, and she teaches fitness. Mm-hmm. And she has so much energy. So I feed off of her energy, and then I bring her down a little bit. So I'm like, okay, artists, everybody. Yeah. And she's like, all right. And we're kind of feeding off of each other, and that's working out really well. So the way that they're working for us, we have had 21 kids the first week, and we had 21 kids the second week.
Wow, good for you.
So it's all just a luck of the time. I don't really know why. I don't know why.
I wonder. I know that some of them, they said they were like going to businesses. So I don't know if did any of the students know each other, or
none of them
their background or
none of them acted like they know each other. And I know in the past, when I've had two that know each other, right away when they see each other, they're like, hi. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're sisters, cousins, or best friends. I even had that this week in my own classes. So after my 3-hour class, I was then also doing my own classes, and it was a lot of orchestration. Let me tell you, right? It was like, this much orchestra, like all the way above
21
level.
21's a lot, because you go 2 breakout rooms. There's still 10 and 10. That's a pretty big breakout room.
So Shannon and I had, my regular Outschool classes are not usually 10 people. They're 9 or below. and it's just because my bookings and my enrollments haven't been quite as high. But even when they're higher, because I'm teaching young learners and I'm teaching art, I don't really like to go above 9. I mean, 10 would be like, if I really had a 10th one, I'd take it. But 10 is really is a lot when you're doing art, because you want to talk to each person, have them hold it up, give them some feedback. That's a lot of people to do that with. Mm-hmm. Wow. So I'm primarily teaching art in the camps, and we are splitting them in half. And like you mentioned in your video earlier, Shannon and I decided that an hour group session right away, we were like, that's too long. Our
Yeah.
age group is also 6 to 8 years old. But our time frame Eastern is 9 to noon, and for Central Time where I am, it's 8 to 11. So, and because I also, like you guys, teach ESL in the early mornings, it's actually impacted my schedule quite a bit with ESL, but we're getting good enrollment. So income wise, it's okay. And but I've had to actually not just eliminate that bonus hour, but I've had to eliminate the hour before that too.
Well, I'm surprised you only have 2 teachers for 21 people.
We just didn't have anybody. Well, we're sort of one of the add-on pods.
Yeah.
So our pod is the rabbits, and we weren't one of the original small groups of, like, there were lions and ferrets and I don't know which ones are added, but for our pod group, we're the rabbits, and we were added on, and so there wasn't a lot. And in fact, the first week I told her I'll do the first week, and then I realized I'm the only teacher in week 1. So then I was about to message her and say, well, I'm not going to do it by myself. I mean,
I need the help.
But before I had a chance to do that, Shannon just texted me and she was like, hey, I just want to let you know I've decided to do week 1 with you. And I'm like, well, thank God, because I had to. So the way that it's worked for us is we pretty much split in half breakout rooms. Occasionally there's a couple that are absent. So we're having like anywhere from 8 to 10 in a room. Our second week, we actually enrolled 21, but we had 3 of them not show up the whole week and not drop out or transfer. So I'm not sure what that was all about. Something must have happened.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, so your camp was more like exercise and art. Was it all exercise and art?
So we did, yes, that's a good question. We did a little bit of science. So Shannon pulled in a couple of crafts and a couple of science projects. And then I did art and then I wouldn't call it math, but I did some shape stuff. And then I also did, we did a little bit of food. So we did some baking. I did a no-bake icebox pie. Awesome. So that was really, really fun. It was a no-bake icebox pie, which has been good. We've had some good feedback about that. And everybody likes it. For the most part, Shannon thinks it's the best thing we're doing in the camp, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that.
They love
they love to do food, and
we had some food in our rainbow camp. We made rainbow cupcakes.
Yeah, good.
And those two didn't only one of the students didn't want to make it, so we had something else that she could work on at the same time, or she helped me make mine, and I'm still eating mine because.
You know what she told me, Rebecca? She told me that she was the boss.
Yeah.
I was the boss.
We have one of those too.
Weird, she said.
Well, if the students don't have the supplies and I do, I'm like, can you help me? Can you tell me what to do? And they like that. They like the reversing role. Yeah. It's like it's asking, what color should I do next? What should I do next? And so it's fun to be the boss, when you're the student.
So we have primarily done like art and fitness, because when we do breakout rooms, I'm doing an art project. And I brought in a couple of new projects and a couple that I've pulled from other lessons that I've already taught throughout the school year. But I've adapted them, or I had to pull in a couple. I actually had, like, last week was animals. So we did rainbow and animals also. We did rainbow the first week, or like we called it A Colorful World. And then we did Animal King. Yeah, we did Animal Kingdom this last week so that we could live in it. We didn't want to limit it to just farm or just like wild. Yeah. So one day was jungle, one day was sea animals, and one day was pets, and one day was zoo. So that's how we did it.
That's good themes, yeah.
And we just did like animal themes for each day, and that helped me because I like themes, and it was like
it helps organize.
Yeah, it helps me with my projects because I'm like, if we just say animals, that's amazing, but like I need to focus. Give me something to focus with, because that's a lot for like an art person. So it's like that really helped me a lot. And we split the group, and then whoever went with my group first would go with her second. And we also, like, what we did was we took turns setting up breakout rooms so we could get some practice. Like 2 days I would set up breakout rooms, 2 days she would set up breakout rooms, so that we could practice like orchestrating it a little bit.
There's definitely a learning curve with clicking the buttons for breakout rooms.
Yeah, and realizing, I don't know if you guys run into this, but I know, Rebecca, because we talk every day, but I know that you also have in the past you do a lot of spotlighting because you do science projects, and I of course do a lot of spotlighting because I do art and I have to show all my steps and whatnot. So in breakout rooms you can't spotlight, you have to only pin. Have you figured out a way to spotlight in a breakout room?
No, I always stayed in the big room, and then I sent Cindy
Okay.
off to the breakout room because
So
there were a few students who had unstable connections, and they kept leaving and
right,
coming back. And so if one of them's in the main room, you can
right,
bring them back in. You can go, okay, bye, go off to Cindy's class, or
right.
you stay
Okay,
here. Then I can assign. But if we both go to breakout
right.
rooms, then there's nobody in the main room.
Yeah.
Plus,
And we did the same thing. We did the same thing.
we had up to 6 and 7. So we didn't
Yeah.
have
Like 7
10
kids.
or 20. So even if you were in the screen, they could still see you pretty well. And we
Okay.
also do the like the side camera. So it does like a
Right.
side
Yeah,
camera where
yeah, because we have many cameras, so we can do two screens at the same time.
Right. So I've just decided I'm not doing Manicam right now because I had a lot of issues technically for a
That's
little
fine.
while, and then everything's been fine. And so I'm just letting it be fine for the
Mhm.
last couple of months and just being stable. But so I still do my phone as my document camera, and it works out beautifully every time. But what we did was we traded. So that way I would be main session 2 days and she would be main session 2 days, and we would each do a breakout room. And that way we didn't have to both struggle because she teaches fitness. So she doesn't have, it's not that she has to pin, but sometimes she did a craft and then she'd want them to do it. So we kind of had to teach them how to pin. So that was one technical thing. We had some people that came in with unstable connections and they'd come in and out, and sometimes they'd miss stuff. And that, I'd say that was our other challenge, was like trying to catch somebody up to a art project that missed 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Some of my students would miss the whole breakout room. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, welcome back to class.
I
don't
know.
make a big deal about it. Just say, hi, welcome back.
Right. And I did that too, but some of them would be like, I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, I
Right.
know, I'm so sorry. Hopefully you can catch up while we keep going.
Just copy this. Here's the picture.
Yeah, I'm like, just jump right into what we're doing.
Isn't it be perfect? And
But
ages 6 to 8, there's no wrong way to do crafts.
Right.
It's whatever their way.
Right.
So I just wanted to say for the people watching, because they might not know as much about it as we do, where this is set up. This was a pilot program from Outschool, and I think they did put out an application somewhere, and then Mindy is the one who kind of started it, and then she put my name down, and Mindy and I were going to do it, and I was going to do it for 9 weeks, like through the entire summer. And then it turned out that they didn't get as many bookings as they thought they would
for the afternoon session.
I don't think for any of them. Like,
well, I think it's kind of really, really high in June, like 20 kids in June, but it's starting to fizzle out. Now that July and August, they're looking ahead in future weeks and it's starting to kind of fizzle a little bit.
Right. So just for people watching, like, since this was the first time, maybe next time there'll be more people. I wanted to also discuss, like, how do you think the kids did? Like, as a teacher, we learned a lot. We did a lot of teaching. How do you feel like the kids responded to the camp itself? What do you think about how the kids reacted?
I think overall it was really good. But one review that I looked at on the Summer Outschool program was mentioning that 3 hours is a long time for a 6-year-old. And in the future, she's going to look for like 2-hour camps.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Because it's just a little bit shorter. And I know a couple of weeks ago, my daughter took some of Mindy's classes, and she took like 3 in a row. But they're like 40-minute classes and then like a 20-minute break, 40-minute classes. So she kind of had like a 3-hour chunk, but she was able to leave the computer for 20 minutes and go play in the bathroom and then come back. Because it ended and then it started. With ours, it was a continuous. So even though we did allow them to go have bathroom breaks and go things, we were still on camera. We were doing brain break games. We were keeping moving, and they had to decide when to leave themselves. So 3 hours is a long time. Even if you do put like 3 main things in there and some other games in there, we kept it going. We didn't have too much dead space, but it is a long time.
I mean, I know that one of the 3 to 5-year-old groups, they went down to 2 hours hours right off the bat, and they just did a 2 hour, and then they cut the price bit. In our group, I have to say, there was a couple of kids in our bigger groups. There was a couple of kids who were kind of zoned out the whole time, but it was the whole time they were like that. They just kind of really, I think their parents just signed them up and signed them up. We've had 3 learners come to week 2 from week 1. We had 3 of them repeat, and we have 1 of them coming to week 3.
Wow.
And we're writing her, and we're telling, we're writing her family, and we're like, we just want to, it's not that I want to lose a learner, but I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah.
Each week. I mean, this has been really,
you did rainbows, you did animals. Now you're going to start repeating.
We're going to do rainbows again. Yeah. I mean, Shannon's tweaking hers a little bit. I'm really not going to. It's hard when you've got an art project and you've got it the way you want it, and it's working pretty well. Tweaking it means I'm doing a new project. And to be quite frank about it, it's exhausting. I mean, it's exhausting. I am already
complicated. You want to know what kind of projects I did?
I mean, no, you were doing knitting. Yeah.
No, we scrapped the knitting.
The finger knitting didn't work because
I mean, for me, I can't
like this. Cut up some paper, glue it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or color small pieces. I did some toilet paper crafts, and I just found some pictures online. Go here. You cut it like this, and you do this.
Color rainbow.
Right.
Double letters.
Right. No, we were doing that. It's not that the projects are complicated. It's that I already have my own classes too that I have to do some preparation for. So and then
all mine, like I just said, if I'm doing the camps, I'm not doing everything because I am already, tired. So I'm not doing, I don't need $1 million. Like I would love $1 million. But I mean, to kill myself, that wasn't what it was about. But anyway, so, and that's the thing with kids is sometimes if you do a simple thing, like that's what I try to do. Like with Rebecca, she had really nice, complicated kind of, not complicated, but simple
STEM
with
stuff.
a lot of ingredients. So I tried to make it simple so that it wasn't like 2 teachers with 50 million things to get.
Right.
Yeah, supplies. Like,
and actually,
like paper and pencil and that kind of stuff.
Right. And that's kind of how Shannon and I have worked too, because she's doing exercise, movement, dance. And obviously you don't need a lot for that. She wants them to have 2 water bottles for their weights. And that's pretty much it. And then she does some simple crafts. She is doing for her science, she's doing one that's slime. So you need the slime stuff.
Oh yeah, they love that.
And then she did one other craft, but it was basically paper and markers and stuff, really easy. And mine are not complicated, but there's a couple things you need. I mean, and then
that's good. Yeah, it's good to do different things.
And we've got a couple stories in there. But I think it's working out well. I think we've had our kids are like still jumping up and down at the end, waving and bye. And we're like, okay, click.
When I go out into the real world and I tell people I'm doing online camp, it just seems so weird. But I am just really amazed with, first of all, the kids and how well they respond and how you really do feel like we only had 6 and 7. And so in the breakout rooms, we had 3 and 4, and we could really get to know them and you just feel like they're yours for
So the last day is like,
I know.
Really 4 days.
You spend a lot of time with them. I mean, even in our larger group, it was the same way for us. So Shannon and I would do a quick meeting after or later in the day. And we were talking about them like, he was upset during the, it's just like if you're in brick and mortar school and you're having a quick meeting, like a team meeting about some of your students. It's the same kind of idea.
Right.
It's really funny.
I've done like Bible school and things like that. And this is kind of cool. I was talking to Rebecca about it too, where, when you do something in person, you have to go buy all the stuff and you have to have it all ready. You have to clean the area that they're going to be in. You have to do all this other stuff. And then, but with this, you got to kind of rely on the parent, and then you have to be prepared if they don't have
adapt. Like, I don't have this. What can I do? I'm like, well, you could do this. You know, you
Right.
lose some of the control, but you also like, you guys get to do it.
You can't
know,
make
you
a
know,
cupcake. You could
it's like
draw
a pro
a
and con.
cupcake.
Yeah.
I've had,
Like, yeah, I don't
we've
have to go
definitely
out
had
and
that.
buy all the supplies for everybody in bulk. I just have to buy for
Right.
me. But then if
Right.
they don't have the supplies, I have to think of alternatives.
Right.
One thing that I was thinking about after I finished like my first day of the 3 hours of break in 3 hours, I'm like, this reminds me of when I was a brick and mortar teacher and I would teach for 3 hours, take a lunch break and teach for 3 more hours. And this is what a lot of brick and mortar teachers had to do this year, teaching virtually for 6 hours a day, having the same students all 6 hours.
But without all the experience we've had, like they had to
and they had to just jump in
it.
and they had to figure out how to keep the kids entertained on their screens for 6 hours. I'm like, you know what? I have a lot more appreciation for these teachers because with art school, I do like 30-minute classes and I'm done. But for these brick and mortar teachers, virtual learning, I mean, hats off to you guys. You guys did great this year.
It was a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Hello,
exactly.
everyone in the chat box. If anybody has a question, we're only going to be going for 4 more minutes because I do have a class today. Yep. Did anybody else? Oh, did you guys get any reviews on? I don't know. I haven't seen ours, Rebecca.
Yeah, the reviews are kind of hard to see because with us, we did a separate camp called Zany Zoology. And so we have maybe some reviews over there that are separate just for us. But for the summer adventures ages 6 to 8, they clump them all together. The early morning, mid-morning, and afternoon are all clumped together. So when I see a review, if it does not mention a teacher's name or a project that I did, I don't know whose it is. So I can access the classroom. I can look at the parents' names and see if I can kind of match it up. Go, oh, it's this parent is for this one. Oh, this complaint, was that about my class? I don't know. I can't find the parent in my class, so maybe it's not.
Caitlin, so the Outschool person who's kind of the coordinating and liaison of all of this, she put ours into our own document so that we could see.
Oh, that's nice.
Because under 6 to 8 at one point, I think somewhere there's a 2-star, and we were like, we need to know what that is. So we need to know if that's us or not, because we need to know. Yeah, so we need to know.
I saw that too, and I'm like, was it about my class?
I think there was two. I think there was two of them. There was 2 of them. It turns out one of them was with comments, and that was what it turned out. There was 2 of them, but you can't see. If there's no comments, then you can't see. But the one of them with comments, and it didn't have a name, so we're like, we need to know. So we reached out to her, and she was like, you know what? Right as we were reaching out, she was putting it together, and she said, I realized you guys can't tell, and it was not us. That 2-star. Apparently, we did get a 2-star with no comments, which is extremely unhelpful. But we mostly had. Yeah, I'm like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? And so we've only had one of those, and then we had a handful of 5s and 4s. So, I mean, overall, I think it's going well. But I don't know I don't know.
I would just like to hear, like, words.
Some of them said, like, it's a fun camp. I want the breakout rooms could have been smaller and more interactive. Well, if you have 20 kids and 2 teachers, you can't go smaller than 10.
Yeah.
I mean, let's add another teacher in there. So
I don't think that one was ours, but yeah.
I think, though, if a parent pays, say, the same price for, like, Rebecca and I, and we had 3 at a time, where somebody else had 10. Some people like that. Some people want more kids. Some people want, like, I have one lesson I've done with this one kid for, like, weeks.
Right.
And you know, she kind of likes it, but I kind of would like more students in there because
I had the same thing, Cindy. Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah. Right. One common complaint that I see overall is that there wasn't enough time to get the supplies they need. And I completely understand that because we are being rushed as teachers. We try to get our packets together last minute, trying to get off to the teachers. We ideally want to get it to the parents 1 week in advance. But it doesn't always happen that way because other things happen. And like Cindy and I were given a camp like on Tuesday and it starts on Monday. So we had to like a quick 2-day turnaround trying to figure out what we need. And so we end up getting the supplies to them like Thursday, Friday. So I completely understand they'll have like a weekend to get everything they need for the supplies. And we try to keep it very simple and very adaptable. But there were things that you had to go to the grocery store and to get for certain things. And so I understand that one. I get that one. And in the future, if we teachers can get together a few weeks beforehand and say, okay, here are the deadlines. Okay, 2 weeks ahead of class, get a rough draft down. Okay, 1 week ahead of class, we're sending them off.
Even like if we say, okay, we're doing a camp for Outschool, you could prepare it a month ahead of time if you know about it,
but we need deadlines,
and then have it ready as a camp instead of
because I had lots of time beforehand. When we first started, we had like 2 or 3 weeks to kind of get rough drafts down, and I felt really good about that. But then it's like, oh, now it's coming up, and you have a hard time thinking of this week's camp and next week's camp at the same time. Your brain goes crazy trying to do day by day, and you have to have deadlines for future weeks, because I'm doing a STEM camp next week. So I'm having to think about a supplies list for that while I'm teaching, and it's brain's going like this, so having more warning. So that's a very common complaint, and a very realistic and fixable complaint. I like the ones that are fixable. You're like, you're right. Next year we'll fix that. I like the ones that are constructive that you can fix.
Yeah. And I think with that in mind, like being last minute, that's why I didn't really do any unusual type products.
Well, I mean, my things were mostly planned. They weren't like completely crazy, but they did require like, planning. Like it was paint. It wasn't special paint. It was just paint. Yeah, for sure.
All right, 30 minutes. I'm gonna have to go because I do have a class, and I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to updates on future camps and future summer things. And at 11 o'clock, we're going to be on Casey's channel, 11 Eastern, whatever time that is for you guys.
I think it's 11:15.
Like in about an hour and a half or so.
Okay, hour and a half.
Like that.
On Casey's channel, similar stuff, maybe a few more extra things, completely Outschool stuff. Thank you guys, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for coming. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Good day.